So we are asking 90 followers, chicken.
Like if you just feel led by the spirit, like, hey you, yeah, you.
Change your ways. Change your lifestyle. Get married. Oh, don't. So if I want to pee, like,
Harry Potter.
whiskey, you know.
How you crunch up and in the corner?
I think
Hey guys, welcome to this special segment that we're doing today on marriages. We've been talking around marriages for the last month at our church, and it's been a really impactful series. But tonight, we want to just sit down, we want to be transparent, we want to be real, we want to have a conversation around our experiences as married couples. No teaching, no preaching. We're just going to be as authentic as possible, right? So probably a little raw, right? What do you think about that, Sampath?
Yeah, I like
raw. All right, so probably get the kids out of the room. We're going to start this discussion this evening. So we're going to jump straight into it before you guys click off. And tonight we have Andy and Anna with us and my wife, Jessica. So guys, tell us, how long have you guys been married? And tell us a little bit about your story. How did you guys fall in love? How did you meet? Give us all the details, all at once.
All right, so you want the real story? The story,
yeah, the real one, the real one.
Story. So let Anna start with
We have versions.
Yes,
right.
Let Anna start with story.
So to begin, we have, March will make it 16 years that we've been married.
Whoa!
Yeah. So yeah, a few days away from 16. We actually met through a friend, a mutual friend. It's a bit controversial.
Let's hear it.
So
You take the girl, man.
No,
Oh, we had a cousin of this?
no, I think, let the girl tell the story.
Okay.
This is the real story.
All right, we edited Nabi's out. Cousin Nabi's out. Let me go again. Let me get the story again.
Start over.
Right.
No.
Right, so we met through a mutual friend, where his friend and I were working together at the same establishment, and we were all going out one night just to chill, lime, and he was there, and I think I asked for his number first. I was a bit forward, but we did spend that night talking a lot and just, getting to know each other, and yeah, from there I think we kind of just, had a little chemistry, hit it off a little bit, and yeah, that was basically it. The friend wasn't too happy, but
Well, obviously.
but yeah, that's how it was. Basically.
How was your side of the story, Andy?
Well, my side of the story is same thing, mutual friend. His thing was we was going to line with one of his friend, his his potential friend. And when I went, I did nothing. I was myself. I was myself, and I don't know. This girl was like.
Well, it was a perfume. What perfume was it? It was Axe?
No, my days didn't have Axe. So it was like Kush or one of those things. Yeah, so probably was the perfume. No, but yeah, and that's it. We hit it off. It was our natural, and it went from there.
And who said I love you first?
Well, she asked for my number.
Right.
Come on. So,
It was definitely me. He's not the mushy type. Can't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, it was me for sure.
Probably like 2 days after she.
All right, you tell us. How did you all meet?
Well, again, we have many versions. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth, right? Okay. Yeah. So the truth is that Jessica and I, we grew up together in church, but we never really liked each other. We never really spent much time either with each other because, to be real honest, Jessica was real annoying. And because of that, we never really used to time at all.
Keyword was.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
And after probably like when we were 19, we both were going to university together. And around that time, her boyfriend and her had just broken up, right? She got dumped.
Dumb.
Oh my God.
And after that, we started to talk because I think I was just the only person that she knew that didn't really have an investment in her previous relationship because it was a kind of church relationship. So everybody in church had kind of known about them and would ask questions about it, but I didn't really care because I was like outside of that circle because we weren't friends before that.
We weren't friends at all. He was just like not all that. So he was just kind of like an outside party, unbiased.
Yes, it was, right?
Yeah. So unbiased, just somebody to, listen to your story.
Yes. Nice.
So she didn't have nobody, and that's why I come in, right? So we started to talk from there, plenty, hang out in UE, study together, plenty studying, and then we would go on probably mini dates, but it wasn't dates. We would just like go grab coffee, get something to eat.
Okay.
And over time, it kind of developed where we realized like we built a solid friendship for maybe like 1 to 2 years, and then it kind of feelings just started to happen. Like feelings that I didn't want to feel started to just happen. And I realized that, I was really falling for her. So it was actually the day before Valentine's. I decided that just a surprise, I was actually at church night. So after church, I was like, hey, let me just go get some to eat. And she's like, yeah, sure. And she jumped in my car and we started driving. And I called one of my friends on the phone and I was like, hey, bro, I wanna sway this girl over, right? Where's the carriage? And she right there. And up until this day, she convinced that she never heard me say that, right? I literally said, and she right there in the car. And he was like, oh, he went cruising recently and it was really nice. So I was like, all right. So we go up to cruising, we have dinner. At the end of the dinner now, and it's time to pay, my card not working. Right? I don't know why. I think it was their links machine.
Yeah.
So
I don't use that excuse.
But that was before, I was broke back then. So when to swipe the card and not working at all, the waitress there is like, I could go, there's an ATM close by, but I had to leave her as collateral.
Right.
So I was like, sure, waiting.
And he left me there in the night, real late in the night, alone in the restaurant. In retrospect, I probably should not have stayed by myself, but yeah, he left me there alone.
It wasn't that long. It was cruising, it had somewhere at least 50 miles away that ATM. So get the money, come back, pay for it. Afterwards, we decided to take a little walk along the kind of boardwalk kind of setting they have in cruising, watch the moonlight and the stars. Yeah, and
romantic.
Yeah, and that's where I make my move.
Oh.
And I get through.
Which move?
Remember, there's the unfiltered one, or there's the one where we put in it up?
Filtered one.
Oh, there's the filtered one. Okay. So from there, things kind of changed with us, and it developed into a romantic relationship. And that's the story, right?
Yeah. That was it.
Okay.
Nice. That was the truth.
Opposite to us, you had a nice friendship, and then that was good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Okay. And she said, I love you first.
No, absolutely not. That didn't happen.
I think we should hear Jesse's side.
Yeah. I did not. He does his story, but what we did, we went up. He took me one evening. We were just liming, and we buy some food by Grand Bazaar. So it was like burgers and thing, and we went up to a hill, overlooking Port of Spain.
Nice. He's a romantic guy.
Yeah.
And we were in the trunk of the car, like sitting down on the
Wagon.
edge there. Wagon.
Is that my difference? They're different trunk altogether.
The trunk of the wagon, right? And we were just like eating and chilling, and that's when he confessed his love.
Oh.
Again, that's not my side of the story, right?
I think that's the truth.
That's not the truth. I
It's
didn't
not
hear.
anyhow.
Yeah.
She did say much sooner than that, but okay, we'll go with that as the final comes.
I like Jesse version.
Yeah, we'll stick with that one.
That's your romantic version, okay. Yeah. So, you guys have been married 15 going on 16 years now, right? That's a long time to be married. We've been married 5 years now.
Yes.
This year will be 6 years. During those long 15 into 16 now, what is like one of the probably most mind-blowing, or the argument that was the worst that you all probably had over those 15 years? What, if there were any, like what was the big aha, this might be it kind of argument?
So there's the same version, the unfiltered one?
Yeah. The real story.
Interesting.
I'm going to get licks all over again.
Oh, gosh.
Just remember.
No. Should we share that one?
Share, go ahead,
Okay,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right. Well, to be honest, our mind would fall on the same argument per se, because in 16 years, I mean, we sung a little bit, like we buttering it up, but we really haven't argued to say we have major arguments to look back on. But we do have one. One. We had just gotten married, maybe a year
and a half, probably.
Around, yeah.
Yeah, and a half.
And we actually were not going to church. We were not, we were
Okay, you
attending.
guys weren't always Christians either?
No.
Okay. We actually got saved together. Yeah, we accepted Christ around the same time, which would have been just about, 12 to 13 years now, fully
Right.
committed.
So about maybe 2 years into the marriage, or 2-3 years?
Yeah.
Could be, yeah. So basically, we were there, weekends was for Lyman. We would probably visit our church once in a few months,
Right.
so. So he, my first daughter, she was a baby. So he went to Lyme. He went on the avenue with some friends.
On the avenue?
Yeah. And he went with some friends, and it was mostly males.
Right.
I think it was all males that planned the line. So it was cool. It's not that I wanted to go or anything. It was a cool thing. But, I find I was getting really late. He come home. But it's cool, nothing. Came home, normal. Everything was okay. And then later in the week. So this is where it gets interesting, right?
Oh, I thought
And I find it stiff
I
here,
thought
wait.
that was it. That should have been it.
Later in the week, he gets a call, and
A call.
and when he gets the call, I know him. I know how he speaks in terms of when it comes to work and friends. I know his friends. We never used to hide anything from each other. So he was a bit awkward on the call because we were in the same vehicle together when he got the call. And he was like, I kind of busy, I have to call you back. So that kind of, I don't know if it's probably the our instinct that we have as women, or probably I just why you look at that?
No, I know what she's talking about.
But I actually knew something was up, even though he didn't say anything at the time. And I was like, you know what? Let me just see who called him. And I went through his phone. And I said, that's not something I would do.
You went through. That's before Face ID. And
That's not something I would usually do, right? So that's why I said it had to be some instinct telling me something was off.
Right.
And it was a female calling, And when I asked him about
how you knew it was a female?
I called.
You call the number.
Well, it was saying that weird name, and the name I knew, it was a name that he would use just commonly if he didn't know your name. Yeah,
Okay.
It was so.
What name you
What
use?
was the name?
What's the name?
So anybody he didn't know, or like if you
Right.
forget your name, he would say Frank. It was just a common thing he would say, right?
Right.
So when I saw the number under Frank,
Oh.
I was like, that's not Frank.
You know, no Frank.
Now, in all fairness, I called
Right.
it with an open mind.
Right.
I called
It could have been Frank. It could have been Frank, Plenty people named Frank.
That's a common name, right? But when I called, I planned to just go along with it, probably say wrong number.
Right.
Just see how it went from there. So when a female answered, I obviously said, I saw this number on my husband's phone, and she just kind of retracted, like, okay. I think I have the wrong number, and then she didn't realize, because I said my husband's phone, and then apparently she didn't know he was married, whatnot. So I just, to be honest, after talking to him about it, well, probably more quarreling about it, because I have no problem with friends, and at that time, we were just married. Now, yes, a year or two, but adjusting to, because we were, you'd limers and just out there, you had so many friends. He had a lot of friends.
Right.
So I feel like we were still adjusting.
Right.
And, so we did argue. I probably argued.
I didn't argue.
He did apologize.
Right.
Yeah, he apologized profusely, but for me it was major in terms of I needed to probably set that standard where, this is not something I would allow in terms of, yes, you could have friends, but I feel like it was being hidden. And to me that could lead to things
Right.
if you know, I feel like we were so open in our communication before. There should nothing should be hidden, you know.
Right.
So at that time, I mean, looking back at it now, I laugh about it. Probably I overreact. I don't know, but at that time, I just knew that I had to kind of make sure that it wasn't something that would happen again or even go further.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
I know nothing physically happened. I know that he was just being casual. He's a very social, talkative person.
Right.
If you all know him, he's that type of
Yeah.
person, right? So yeah, we argued. I mean, I felt like it was a bit tricky. I did threaten to pack clothes and
She packed she clothes.
She's saying threaten now, right? She packed, she bag.
She packed she clothes.
yeah, I did, and I think me making it so real
Right.
that you know I was not going to, because I honestly
Yeah.
grew up around a lot of like broken marriages and stuff
Right.
that where you see these things coming. I was like, I don't want to have to, you know,
Go through that.
for
Yeah.
years to come, talking about all these things that I would have to, you know, we would fight through. And to be quite honest, I think from that moment and that situation, I mean, yes, it was the biggest argument. It was the only time I would ever, or I did actually pack or anything like that, because,
Yeah.
you know, but he made a total turnaround.
Right.
I think he felt very, he was sure that I was really going to, you know, leave.
Yes, scared.
Well, she packed.
I'm not too sure. It was more in the emotions that I just like, you know. But yeah, he worked really hard to make sure that I was comfortable and could trust him fully again. And I mean, he just really made a change, and he worked. He didn't just say he was sorry. I could tell he was sorry. He actually, you know, did things to show me that, you know, he was working to be better with communicating, with openness, with our marriage, and you know.
Well,
so
thank
that was.
God for Jesus.
I know.
Whatever happened to them guy friends? That's the last time we get to go on our guys' line.
I never met a Frank after.
Yes, but as I said, we were young in marriage and everything, and you know, I feel like it was something that definitely helped us to grow and you know, just learn from it basically.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Andy, you cry.
I did.
You cry and beg.
I begged and cried and begged.
More about my daughter.
Yeah, she packed my
That
packed
was
my baby clothes.
that kid. When he came home from work that day, he was like,
And
yeah,
I
I think.
don't even know who's this Frank.
Wait, so when you came home from work, right?
Yeah.
And she was
bags
done
packed.
packed.
Bags
Oh my
packed.
god.
No explanation. Bag packed.
And then Coral. So yeah. So that was
That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty big.
It
That's a lot.
was,
That's
yeah.
And like, thanks so much for sharing that, because a lot of people feel isolated in their marriages in terms of they feel as though they alone go through difficult seasons. And that isolation oftentimes is what the enemy uses to make people feel as though they can't make it to the end. And you guys sit here like 16 years later saying, you know what, we were able to work through that.
Yes,
And we
yeah.
have a healthy relationship, we have a healthy marriage, and a lot has been produced out of it. We've been a blessing to many different people. You know, you all have been serving in ministry and serving God's purpose for your life. So even in the midst of that, I'm sure for somebody right now who's going through something similar, it can give them hope to know, hey, you know, other people go through difficult seasons as married couples, but it is something that you can really work through, right? Just pack up your things and say, all right, let's go.
Just, you know,
Pack your arms. That's the key.
But really, God made a difference.
definitely, yes.
And we thank God that, that he got a hold of Sampath.
Yes.
Yeah. So how about you all? I mean, I know it's what, 5 years you said, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
So
5 years.
how has it been?
Have you all had big arguments, or like, because 5 years is not really a long time, but
Yeah.
or have it
Pretty long. Longest relationship ever.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in terms of arguments, how have this journey been?
Plentiful, to say the least. So, I don't know. You can think of any like major
Major?
argument that we've had since we got married, like pack up your bag, ready to go, any any who the Frank is this? Any,
No. I can't really think about any like major ones, like but plenty little ones. When I say little, it was very significant to me, and I guess too. But it's just be like it had been a lot of hot mouth.
Who from him?
no, I'm a peaceful person.
Which makes it worse because if I am making a point, I would want him to, engage a little. But he's just be there like, and that's getting me more annoyed. But yeah, it's more like me, hot mouth.
Well, when we just got married, there was a lot of figuring out when it comes to living together.
Right.
Because now that you're living together, you now kind of see the different ways that your spouse will do something that's different from you. You're figuring out your roles and responsibilities at home, work, ministry, all these different things. You're kind of fine-tuning around all these different aspects. So because I like figuring out that meshing process, like just joining two lives together, people don't realize how messy it is to join two whole different lives together, different background, different cultures. And that caused a lot of mini arguments that felt really like in those moments, like looking back now, like I wouldn't say like, oh, these were real big things, you know. But in those moments, it felt like the end of the world. Like it felt like chaos, and it felt intense. It was certainly intense and real. Sometimes it got a little too intense, right? Yeah, like it did get. Yeah, I've prayed out before. I've took it before the Lord in prayer, right? And I do believe that God is able to change the heart of the hardest hearts, right?
I don't know
the power
what
of the Holy
talking
Spirit.
about.
Yeah, but
I just don't know.
yeah. I remember one time I don't even remember what we was arguing about. I saying we, but mainly you, right? I don't remember
Probably
what.
how you wash the wares and them kind of
Something
thing.
like that. Something, right? And the good thing though is we live in the same compound as my parents.
Right.
So that offered me some grace too. Because anytime she started raising, I was like, hey, they go here, him.
That is
So that
so
really saved me
true.
plenty. It did.
That is so true, because when I just want to explode, like it never happened. I wasn't able
Used to be
to.
more than
Yeah.
But there wasn't home all the time too.
right. So you said that's the excuse.
Yeah,
So
no,
you
because
always kind of calm down
Yeah.
when you realize.
Yeah, because I don't want that embarrassment. Then I have to face people after I know quarrel along the place. Nah. I would quarrel quietly. Yeah.
So there was this one time I remember for sure. This was like probably the worst it ever got, right? And I don't remember what we was arguing for, but I remember what you did.
I'm
Right.
waiting to hear what you talking
This is
about.
news to Jesse.
Right?
What?
So probably because I don't respond when she's arguing in terms of I don't raise my voice, so she feel like she fighting with somebody who not fighting back.
Yeah.
And I think she used to won the fight at some time. It had this one time I remember that I was standing by the stairs because we live upstairs. I was standing by the stairs and she was standing by the door and she's like, I don't want to see it, go outside. So I was by the door and I was like standing up watching and I was probably laughing maybe. Probably, right? Right? And you remember now?
Thinking about it's something like you will do.
What happened?
You remember what you do?
What
What did I do?
You don't remember? Your girl tried to kick me down the stairs, you know? Yes, no. And kick me. You remember
My
now?
father and mother will be disappointed. But yeah. I used to, the boy
He was hard,
annoyed. Yeah, I remember that. I'm not proud of the moment, but in the moment, I felt at that time it was called for, but it wasn't.
It was cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things I had to learn, right, about this woman is she does never say sorry. This is like 5 years later, it's still,
At that
it was
time,
called
it
for,
was,
right?
you
So
know.
I learned now that she says sorry in different ways. So
Yes,
she wouldn't say
yes,
the
yes.
words. I don't know if it's
Might just
if it's
been a
all
cup of
woman, right?
coffee or something.
But she wouldn't like, I don't know if the words I love you, just maybe like, maybe I love you. Maybe just do that.
You see how you're accustomed saying that? You're accustomed saying that. Yeah, go ahead.
the words I'm sorry, I don't know if it's like just burn the truth or the
Yeah,
tongue or what,
Oh,
right?
gosh,
But she wouldn't
that's
say it.
You see, things easy.
Yeah, but and there were more instances than that though. That was probably the worst.
What do
but-
you mean, like more times she tried to kick you down the step? Or just
Nah.
You don't want to confess?
Let's stick to the
What?
the clean version.
The most I would do is like hit him now and then.
Somebody call the police.
No. At that time, I didn't see anything wrong with it, right?
Okay.
I just need to see this,
All
but
right.
I'm not that person anymore. No, but at that
this was in
time,
the beginning, right?
yeah,
Right,
yes,
right.
this was in the
The
beginning.
Lord has done a miracle. Yeah.
Sanctification.
Yes, I changed that. Yeah.
No, at that time I really didn't see anything wrong with it, but now it's different. I
think you need to tell people. Yes.
No, like if I hit him, it's not really going to do him anything. So that's what I used to do, like just like vent and hit, but not to hurt him. There's no way I could have ever hurt him. Let's just put that
So you
out
feel like
there.
you needed to do it to get a reaction, or
To
just
get
like
a reaction.
Get them to, okay.
I think so. As you say that, I think that's what.
I think this. No.
No,
Cut.
because
And again, some ideas, you know, she's like, pack up and things, and she'll have pull out the damn bag.
because if you're vexed, right, you want a reaction.
Yes,
like
yes.
say do something, but the boy used to just be so calm. And yeah, I used to hit, but I really didn't see anything.
Okay. In her defense, right?
But no, I could see that is wrong. I know.
I'll defend you, right? In her defense, right? I'm a big guy, right? And it was really cute, honestly. Even the time she tried to kick me, it was really cute. Because she would like literally punch me. You could tell she's trying, she hardest, right? All she might, right? And I wouldn't even feel I wouldn't even flinch because it was so cute. It's like she tries so, like a little child.
But I
And they
would
try
never.
to try to all them might.
Yeah, I would never say to do that. Like, don't do that.
But it was never, like you said, it was
That's
never to
not
hurt
like-
intentional
it
because she
was
never, it was most like a hand and stuff where it wouldn't,
Yeah.
she never tried to punch me. I
I
never walked with a black
never hit him
eye.
in- No,
Probably
I
she
never
couldn't
hit
reach,
him.
but-
I never hit him in his face because I know that's like real crossing the line.
Yeah.
It was more, it was really just to get
Tap
a
on the cross
reaction.
and you're like,
Well, at that time, I told
Okay.
that. So I never like slap him or
Right.
All right.
You know,
okay.
nothing.
But
like that.
it didn't really, it wasn't like something that affected me a lot as well. Because it wasn't like I felt like my wife was abusing me.
Right.
Like I
No,
knew
not
like she was just
domestic.
trying to get a response from her.
Yes.
And that's why she would like probably just punch
Okay,
in
okay.
shoulder.
Okay.
But
Good-
it wouldn't
good
make any.
defense, good defense.
But never, I felt like he was angry to hit me or anything like that.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
let me
okay.
So for
just
the
put
young
that
men out
out
there, you gotta build your biceps and shoulders, right? Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if I hit him, it was never like he would still not get angry. So
Well, he
yes,
thought it was
at the
cute.
time-
It was cute.
See how crazy that is.
I think friends just have a little knack for doing that because even if sometimes we argue for something small and I'm waiting for a response, he'll just be like giving me some good advice or some nice, and I'm like, shut up. you need to. Yeah. So,
But we're
yeah.
praying for you guys.
Definitely.
I understand.
So that's some key things there, major challenges
Yeah,
through
yeah.
life. But life has its ups and downs. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
like you guys have been married 15 years, we're married 5 years, and definitely life is never perfect. Like
Yeah.
we talk about internal, but there's other things that happen that we don't have control over too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like some things we do have control, like you can stop hitting them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can control
Yes,
those things, right?
I have turned
But-
from those ways.
The wicked ways. But there are things that just happen that we
Yeah.
don't have control over. So I don't know for you guys if there was ever a season that we would say was really difficult and it would have taken a toll on your marriage, and maybe how did you guys navigate through that season?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in 15 years, we definitely had ups and downs. Thank God that, we made it through everything.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we before we even get into the seasons, I want to explain whilst in the beginning of the marriage, we were not saved. We never go to church, or yes, we heard and we got invitations and them kind of thing, but we didn't really truly give our lives to Christ. But really and truly, it had a turning point, a really 360 turning point. And I would say, even though in the ups and downs, I realized after that particular turning point in our life where Christ was the center, he was really our anchor. And as we were talking, you asked about the ups and downs. We did have a few ups and downs, and I would say after our first daughter was born, probably around 6 years after, around
Should have been 5.
yeah, around 5 years after, we was planning to have another child, and well, as I say, that season, we was excited and happy, and things was just we were planning and organizing stuff, because Ananda, we thought, that yes, we're ready to expand the family, and
She wanted a sibling.
she was most excited as well,
Yeah.
and well, in the pregnancy, it started to have complications. So Anna could probably.
It was good, we were happy, excited, everybody was excited. And then I found out 6 months into it that, I miscarried. It was the most traumatic thing to feel. I mean, emotions, everything is just kind of, I don't know, I feel like at some point you kind of go numb, and it's definitely a topic that a lot of people don't talk about, and only after going through that, I realized that so many women go through
the same thing,
this situation. It is crazy. And and so I was going through the process of this situation. It actually happened in, I think it was April of 2013. And I don't think I ever would have thought about the process of miscarrying at 6 months. And I feel like that was most traumatic for me, the experience of it. Mentally, I feel like physically, at a point I was numb to get through it, but it definitely was a season. I thank God that I could speak about it now. It's not something I feel like we fully get over. It will always have that, that situation, that memory, that, I think I still have some of the ultrasounds from that. But it was definitely a season where I feel like we were there for each other. I feel like that's a situation in marriages that could make you or break you.
Yes.
Because you're so emotionally torn, physically, mentally, and for us, it definitely brought us closer together. He was there for me. He took care of me when I literally couldn't. And I saw a different side of him that, was caring and not the, tough outlook he tries to put on. But it did bring us together. We got through it. When I just for weeks couldn't come out of the house or whatever, he was supportive. He took care of Ananda when I just couldn't. And I mean, even for him, it was hard for him. Yes, he didn't go through it, but he was excited too. He was happy. And for him to go through it, I feel like, he was more there for me than I was there for him, But it definitely was a tough time that now we thank God that, and we still don't know why it happened. But it's something that we did go through and we made it through.
Yeah, and I want to say definitely it was really and truly it was at that point in our life, we didn't have much friends or family to really turn to or support. Yes, it had friends who would have support us.
Casually.
But really and truly is the times when you're home alone and we get together. That is the times where she'll just break down and women deal with these things emotionally different. They really deal with these things different. And I would say that is the time where really and truly you saw the hand of God kind of comfort us and kept us and them kind of things. So that was a valley. But definitely God, I saw the hand of God. It wasn't me that was comforting her or vice versa. It was really God was taking us through, and He did. He took us through that season, and as she said, definitely when we healed from that, because as we speak about it, the memories are fresh all over again, which was how much years ago. But yet still God restored. You know, he restored and He fixed and that is what He do. That's what He did. And really and truly, that was the essence. God was the essence of that particular time in our life where He carried us through that situation.
And you guys had your daughter afterwards, right?
Of course.
So yes,
Yeah, well,
so
we
we
didn't.
had-
You know, we didn't go in grocery.
So yes, we had
Alexis, yeah.
about a year and a half, almost 2 years later.
2 years here. Yeah, around 2 years later.
And that pregnancy was good, no major complications or anything, but it just made me appreciate it so much more.
Yes.
In terms of the full pregnancy and how coming out healthy and good, you know. With my first daughter, I had a pretty easy one, you know. No complications whatsoever. But you know, it was the first time. So after experiencing that, when I got pregnant again, I was super careful. But at the same time, I was just so thankful that, you know, God brought me through that and saw her to perfect health. She's going to be, what, 10? Yeah, 10 this year. So yeah. So yeah. Anything that would have affected you all in terms of having to go through a season that you felt, you know, brought you all together closer?
Because in marriages, it have those seasons, and it's normal for us to go through seasons.
That's just one topic for us. I mean, have so many different situations that come up being married, you know.
Probably when my grandma passed away, I feel like that was pretty tough.
And that I feel like that was so recent, right? Because we were here.
That was so that was during COVID. So she would have contracted COVID-19, and we just had welcomed our son into this world as well. So he was a newborn, and during that time, because of us having a newborn, and because at that time there wasn't any set of vaccinations, and it was still really unknown, and that was during the Delta variant. We weren't there during the time that she was ill. We kind of kept away because of the fact that we had to kind of keep our son safe, because we couldn't afford to contract the virus from the family members that had at that point, right? Which was the protocol at that time, the aspect of what do you call it? Quarantine, right? And so because of that, we weren't really even aware of too much of the progress. Like we would hear, you know, it's different when you hear and when you see. Like, you know, we'd hear that she's doing good today, and then tomorrow we'd hear she wasn't doing so well. We were hearing that she was doing better, she was doing okay. And then all of a sudden, I think it was sudden in that sense. Now, when you hear grandma, I thinking, like for me, when I hear anything with gra and added as like grandpa or grandma, I was like, yeah, well, they lived their life.
But she was different.
But it was sudden in the sense that she had no previous complications, no health problems. Yeah, she was healthy. And then we were kind of looking forward to her getting to have a great grand and you know, be around him as well, our son. And we got the news that they call and say she isn't doing good, come up quickly. And it was out of the 3-week window where you're contagious, so we could have gone. And just before we reached, we were driving up, just before we reached there, they called back and said she already had passed away. So we got there while they were the ambulance had just reached as well, and they were, because she was at home, she was being cared for at home, and they had doctors coming in at home. So when we reached, they were in that process of putting her into the ambulance and taking away the body. So you would have gotten to see her body?
No, the doctor had reached to kind of pronounce her and that sort of thing. But we had gotten to see her. But the sad part is I spent more time with her then, like when she had already passed, rather than when she was really sick because of the COVID, and I think that's what made it really, really difficult for me. I don't know. I was real close to my grandma.
I understand.
That's all I want to see her right now, because
I think there was a lot of regret as well. And why that season was difficult for us is because The morning that she passed away actually was our 2-year church anniversary. No, 3-year.
Okay.
3-year church no, 2.
2-year.
2-year. Yeah, last year would have been 3. 2-year church anniversary. So we got there in the morning. We were there with the family till maybe like 2 o'clock. Came back home and then had to come out and celebrate in the night with the entire
Right.
church.
Wow.
And like there's a whole aspect as well too we could talk a little bit about in a little while in terms of balancing leadership and then marriage and how that has been a strain as well too. But like the healing process was different in terms of I've never been, for me, it was a lot of growth as a husband because I've never been around having to help somebody through a loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
My family is not too much of an emotional family. Kind of tough, shake it off kind of
Yes.
family vibe. So I never really saw my parents or my mom go through any difficult seasons of mourning. She did lose her brother when he was about 10 years ago because he committed suicide, he drank poison. And I did see her grieve at that moment when she found out, but she's the type of woman that she found out, she cried her eyes out, and then I never really saw anything after. I didn't like how my dad would have probably had to deal with that. But now having to deal with it as a husband, I really had to be empathetic because while, yes, it was my grandmother-in-law, I wasn't really close to her. And I had to understand that she was going through that grieving process as well. And that took some time. I couldn't just expect that she would just be all back to normal all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it took months and maybe close to a year of how, sometimes she would just think about it and then start crying. Or she would just go by her parents and the grandma not there and she just start crying. And it was a lengthy process of where I had to learn to support her, validate those emotions because those emotions are real and understand that grief is something that everybody processes in a different period.
Yes.
Some people process in a short period, some people process over a lengthy period, right? And even with grief, the goal is not to forget, the goal is to be able to be healed such that you remember the person and you're joyful when you do remember that person. So it is a process. So that was a whole experience for us that brought us closer together in learning how to, for me especially, learning how to care for my wife during that grieving process. And it strengthened our relationship a little bit more. So we're able to handle different things as life would go on as well. And as I would have mentioned, part of being a pastor is that it does take a toll on our marriage because to have to know that someone you love passed away in the morning and then come to church in the night and she led worship that night, which for me showed great strength and I still admire that to this day. That's one of the moments that I truly commend her for. She led worship that night and we celebrated with the crowd, right? That was here. But as leaders, the thing about it is that we don't really get to take breaks in terms of we could have a rough week. And that's the thing, we talk about hardship in life, but I feel like for us, we playing life on hard because, we balancing leading in church as pastors, as pioneers. We just started a business as well. Then we have our family. I still work as well full time. So it's balancing all of that makes it hard because life keeps hitting at you. That's just recently one of our uncle passed away suddenly as well. And there's always these ups and downs that we go through on a weekly basis. And what people don't see behind the screen is that we would go through really rough weeks that would take a toll on us as a couple. But then we still show up here on a Saturday because we had to serve the people. I still had to preach. We still had to do what God has called us to do. And while it's a privilege, we also are not privileged because we don't get to say at Friday, hey, this was a rough week. Let me just rest this weekend, take that time off. We haven't actually taken a vacation since we started our church for the last, coming up on 4 years now. I mean, a big part of it was COVID as well, right? So this year we do plan on leaving Andy and Anna here and getting a vacation. But that always is a strenuous thing on us for our marriage. And a lot of, we may not get a day off per se because of our schedules, but we do always take time to enjoy the moments that we get. So we might randomly on a Wednesday evening go to the beach. Remember what we did
That's good.
when was?
Sometime last week, I think. We just randomly after work, that was way late in the evening. We just decided we had to take a little rest.
Yeah, we get old now. Gotta get the power now. You had to drive Maracas.
And then we was let me just do something. And we went to Maracas with the baby, Elias.
We
And
all took a power nap. He take a
we
power
take a
nap.
power nap too, yeah. And we just went and just had a good time. It was just us.
Yeah, we reached there like 4:30, 5
yeah,
p.m.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I think it's important seeing that, we do have that whole vacation time, but to enjoy the small moments.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we might just go for food.
We go on a lot
like
of dates.
food.
Yeah. Whenever
Yeah.
whenever
Food
we get the
runs.
time, 2-3
Yeah.
times to the week, we spend time together in that
Okay,
sense.
that's
Even though we don't get like
Yeah.
a whole day, we take
Yeah.
we take every moment we have and we enjoy each other's company, family
Yeah.
time as well with
Yeah.
our son, and that really helps to strengthen our relationship.
Yes.
Because we continually are communicating, so there isn't walls that are built up from that lack of quality time in a sense of just spending a lot of lengthy time together.
Yeah, yeah. But as he talk about, like the sacrifices and stuff, it's the benefit outweigh everything. It's a lot on the marriage and trying to balance everything, but it's still the most rewarding to serve God and to do His work and even to enjoy all the aspects of life. It's
Yes.
not just, you're on the earth and you just have to study, you're working all the time,
Right, yes.
or you're so consumed with one aspect of life. Maybe you're consumed by ministry alone, but it is really about finding the balance and doing ministry with your family, doing family events, finding that time not to overwork yourself, but really finding that balance. And that was a big deal for us, trying, still working through it, trying to find what works for us. But the little things, when we get our little moments, I think those things really make it better.
Yeah.
Make the little moments count and don't wait for any big, you have to wait till, our anniversary or a birthday or nothing like that. Just make the small moments count.
Yeah,
And
I think
agree.
I think it's important
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
that spontaneous time in your
Yes.
marriage, because
Yeah.
it's important to always keep that spark. It's important to have these random dinner dates and
Spark.
the spark. you
Speaking
know?
of spark, I'm curious, right? 15 years marriage.
Yes.
Right? 2 kids, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Back probably a little squeaky now. How was the sex life? How's that balance?
The sex life. Well,
How do you make it work?
Pastor, you have a pharmacy, and sometimes,
We have a lot of drugs.
sometimes I come
some
by
blue
you.
pills.
But,
some
but I thought that was a pharmacist patient.
that's
card.
not-
teaching.
But no. Our I think our I could see it. My mom might hear me on this thing. I think our sex life is healthy, and it should be with marriage. We probably, yes, the back is a little skinny, and I have a lot of injuries, but yet still, I'm strong at heart, and it's important. People as emotion, men is physical creatures, and like women, emotions and all that. But it's important. I think it's very important to have a healthy
Right.
sex life.
Right.
Especially when your kids grow up now, and you can have all the fun, and as you say, keep that spark,
That's fine.
keep all it
Yes,
spontaneous.
yes, definitely. I mean, we did have some rough times.
That's
This is
before
the
the
clean
pills.
version. The clean version.
We did have some, times where it was
Some droughts.
challenging.
Okay. No, not true. Okay.
Because when you have, when they were small, it's hard to make time for those things, especially when they're small, you're up all night and
Right.
working and, stuff like that. So, but now I think...
I didn't have a problem. I would have fit you in
Middle of the
anytime.
night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Just call me.
Whenever. Middle of the day.
I would have fit you in.
But yeah, we definitely understood the importance of that aspect of marriage,
Right,
that
right.
intimacy and that connection. So yeah, we always, make sure that is healthy.
No, I would not, no time ask my pastor how is his sex life. But
Thank you very much.
You know, we'll
Thank
just
you very
leave it
much.
to our imagination.
Yes.
I think they are human,
my
and
gosh.
but I cannot. I can't.
They have a baby,
Immaculate
so it must be-
conception.
I don't think my past. I think my past is holy. You know what?
Sanctified.
Yeah, I can't. Yep. So you know, yeah. So we are good on our end.
I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that.
Yes, we are
So
good.
as we get ready to kind of close off today's session, for those that are viewing, is there anything that you would share from your experience that you would say would have been a key thing that has helped you to have a healthy, long-lasting marriage?
Well, I'll go first.
Sure.
Question anybody. You know? I honestly think more and more, and the thing with our marriage, we spent a lot of time together. We used to work together. We still work together. We had a business together. So most of the times we spend together. And what I realize is one of the most fundamental aspect to keeping a healthy marriage is communication.
Right.
We usually we do not tell each other anything. We communicate about every aspect. And what I realize is it's easy to say. It's easy to say communication, but what I realize is it's actually a key to make the marriage go better.
Right.
To understand the other person, to understand for the other person to understand me. So to me, I think communication is most important. You need to communicate with your spouse and be their best friend. I really, to be honest, this is my best friend.
Right.
This, and we don't hide anything from each other.
Right,
And
right.
I think
You sure?
no,
No, Franks?
no France, and I really think that is key to having a smooth relationship, because really and truly she really knows me. Now, I believe in the beginning we had to get to that get to know each other stage. But now she knows me because we communicate so often. And I think that is important.
Yeah. And
All
what are your
right,
thoughts?
I fully
Yeah,
agree with
him?
that. Yes. Communication is key. For me, looking back, and definitely what has helped us reach this far is selflessness. As you said, I think we mentioned, we come from different cultures, different backgrounds. He would like different things. I would like different things. So definitely he's the more outgoing type. He's the one who's ready to just go anywhere at any time, at any hour.
Yeah.
And I'm the more the introverted type, like, no, we didn't plan. Like, no, how, I just, it's a little harder for me. And then, so sometimes the compromise is important to have that middle ground where, sometimes I would sacrifice to do something he would like, and he do the same for me.
Right.
He would sacrifice what he would want to do. And so it's important to just understand that sometimes you have to meet in the middle. Not saying that you have to give up yourself or your whole identity or who you are, but there must be that balance where you have what you like and what you do, but at the same time meeting in the middle, so that you could, build that relationship, a healthy relationship, with your partner. So I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, my wife?
That's it.
Stop. Don't beat your husband.
Don't meet your husband. Mine will kind of build on what you all said just now, because I totally agree. But mine is understanding. So what I would say is, like, with communication and being selfless, understanding the other person. Because sometimes I feel like you could just talk off your head, and then the other person just not understanding what you're saying. Like, they can't seem to fathom what you're trying to communicate, because they lack that understanding. So I would say to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoe, because of, as you say, like, differences. You come from different backgrounds, different cultures, you're accustomed to certain things, but try to be understanding to the other person, and don't let it always be about yourself. Be selfless, and just have that understanding to know that, hey, the other person matters also.
Hey,
You
you matter.
So that's
So
what I-
understanding
Nice.
and compromise.
Understanding. Yes, and compromise definitely. If you understand, then you have to compromise
Right,
to
right.
kind of adjust. It wouldn't be your way all the time.
Yes.
Right.
So compromise.
Compromise is key.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess me being the pastor, I had to
Yes, let's
bring it
hear
back to what. But honestly, I do think for us and our marriage, God has been always the center of our relationship and our marriage. And when I think about like for me as a person and our relationship, it doesn't trend with our history, like our family history, our generations, and what we'd have maybe seen or learned from our family. There's a lot of brokenness, a lot of different family marital issues external to our relationship. And when I think about the person that I am as a husband, as a father, it is all based on who God has shaped me to be over time. Without God, I wouldn't be this husband, I wouldn't be this father that I am,
Yeah.
because I operate purely based on biblical principles that have refined who I am. So, we spoke about the Franks and stuff, and there's that transition that happens now, that transformation, when we move from who we used to be to who God has called us to be.
Yeah.
Because there's even this fear of God. Like,
Yes.
I want to
Right.
honor God in my marriage. So, because I want to honor God, I'm going to ensure that I do what I'm supposed to do as a husband, and I'm going to live according to God's principles for marriage, right? Because, in our society now, people getting married, right? But they have their own principles for marriage,
Yes,
right?
yes,
They have all kind of different scenarios for what marriage should be like, which is really unhealthy and more disastrous in the
Yeah.
end. So while we can think on our own what we think marriage should be and what we think we should do, at the end of the day, when we apply what God's law says into our life, that is when we truly have a healthy marriage. And at the end of the day, that is what keeps our relationship, because we live by what God desires out of us, not even our own desires.
Yeah.
So we talk about even leading as pastors, right? This gives us a lot of purpose in our relationship, a higher purpose, something greater that we know through our marriage now, we are serving God's purpose for our life, which is much greater than what we may want to do for our lives even self. So that kind of adds a lot of value to our marriage and what is being produced out of it. So as we kind of close off today's session, I want to just encourage any person that is viewing right now, you might be going through a challenging season in your marriage. We understand, like, we all go through difficult times, difficult seasons, and whatever you may be going through right now, as you keep God as the center, as you rely on God, you will see the fruit of God's hand upon your life. So that brings us to the end of tonight's discussion, and we hope that you guys enjoyed. If you haven't done it as yet, like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe. Right? God bless everyone.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can press your record.
Imagine.